To market watchers, Dave Maney here. We've got Alan Nuckman on what all of this means for a bull market 8 years young today. Alan, ending with you, begin with you. What if this is significantly delayed? Then what?
Well, you're seeing amazing market momentum. This is, like you said, 8 years, and it's not just the stock market. You've had 77 consecutive months of job growth. You've had earnings growth come back. So you'd almost have to do something to screw this momentum up. It doesn't get knocked down unless an outside force can halt that, and I don't see anything in the picture.
You know, Dave, sometimes just gravity and time can weigh on it, right? I mean, it's long in the tooth. I know the second longest bull market, and they run out of breath, right?
Yeah, although I do think this is an unusual situation in that you have this sense that from the business community, from the entrepreneurial community on up, that this is kind of a fresh wind blowing through the business environment, that there's a real desire and possibly just enough crazy to affect some really kind of fundamental changes.
In other words, what President Trump wants to do.
Yeah. And I just came from a big convention of entrepreneurs last week that I thought was the most positive I had ever seen that group of 2,300 entrepreneurs and CEOs.
Really? From all walks of industry and life?
From all around the world. I could not find a place in that global organization, which is probably 2/3 North Americans, I did not get a negative whiff from anybody other than a little concern from the international guys about what exactly President Trump was about.
I've read the foreign press. I think I know what you're saying. But Alan, one of the things that they say about the Trump agenda, they love the Trump agenda. They're just not quite sure the guy who's leading it, Donald Trump. And they don't, I guess the messages are not, I'm going to hear this, there's Cavuto, the never Trump are going at it. What they say is that he will be cursing his own progress here, that when he sticks a message, as he did with the joint session of Congress address that was kind of universally praised, and then slips on a banana if something gets sidetracked here, that he is the only one capable of undoing that. What do you think of that?
Well, I don't think the market care what he does, positively or negatively. We saw that blow off top the day after his speech. I mean, like I said, we are on a strong path. This is 250% off the lows. This is not just Donald Trump in the last couple of months. Yes, the psychology has changed, but we've seen asset reflation, not just stocks. We saw crude oil. We saw gold up here at multi-month highs. Yes, we've taken a pause, but I would attribute that to two things. To the reality of a rate hike that's going to happen next week, and now there's a 50% chance that happens another one in July. That's not a big deal. And also, we've got a pause in the earnings cycle here. We don't get new fundamental information till the banks start again in April. And let's remember, the banks made $170 billion last year in profits. So I think that's going to set a nice tone once again.
But Al, I just want to be clear. You don't think that if these tax cuts are delayed or even denied, that this thing could fall apart?
Yeah, I get what you mean. No, I don't. I think the market hasn't reacted negatively to some of the things that could have and should have knocked things down. So I'm a tape watcher, and we've seen a steady incline, not an acceleration, but a steady incline over the last couple of months when there have been news items and chaos that could have caused the markets to drop.
All right. Dave, I want to go into you. I want to hit your broadside with this, but we're getting a bulletin now concerning Treasury Secretary Mnuchin, who wrote a letter to Speaker Paul Ryan that the Treasury will take extraordinary measures to prevent a U.S. default. This seems to come up in every administration. Mnuchin saying that he will honor the full faith and credit of U.S. debt as a critical commitment, calls on Congress to raise the debt limit at the first opportunity. Of course, to avoid a default, you just make good on government obligations like paying interest on Treasury notes and bonds. But we always hear this because we have this huge debt, and it's not going away, is it?
No, it's not going away. I think President Trump a few days ago said something about essentially that his prescription to get out of it was growth.
Do you buy that?
I do buy that prescription will work if it's followed. I mean, if he.
But growth alone, you have to cut stuff, don't you? That's $20 trillion in debt.
Yeah, you're $20 trillion in debt. That's right. But if you can just, I mean, all you need to do is sort of move the country. If you can get back to a Clinton era kind of, no deficit. I mean, you can.
And if they're going down, it's better than when they're going up.
Right,
yeah.
Right. I mean, that's clearly the trend is your friend if you're moving the deficit.
Okay, Alan, you would kind of dismiss these interest rate hikes that seem to be a given right now. What if they're more than just two or so? They might be 3 or 4 or 5. Then what?
Well, that means we're getting an A+ on our report card when you look at the economy. So I look at it as a very positive sign. We are so far away from normalized rates of about 4.5%, which typically the Fed funds rate has tracked at in the last 20 years. We have a long, long ways to go. This is going to have no impact at this particular time. There is no choice right now between the stock market and looking at treasuries when people are trying to get yield right now.
You agree with that?
I do not see the immediate thing. I mean, we're just coming off the experience. You know, I'm from Denver. I'm just coming off the experience of trying to buy a house, and we sold one and bought one, and the market is the record low supply. Everybody who moves into a new house has to go spend a bunch of money to make new things. I mean, it is doesn't feel like crazy, but it is as, you know, the gas tank is full right now from what I can see.
Wow, a lot of thin air out there too.
There's a lot of thin air. That's what's wrong with me.
Yeah. All right, Dave, I want to thank you. Alan, thank you very, very much.